This is Eric L. Donovan, the Mindset Disruption Strategist. Let's talk about investing. More specifically, let's talk about the 5 things you need to look for inside of every investment you make. But before I do that, make sure that you subscribe to this channel to get access to all of the content that I'm coming out with on a regular basis. And while you're doing that, go ahead and hit the notification bell so you can be updated every time that I post new topics and new information. And I'm coming out with information on a regular basis. So one of the videos that I did, I mentioned the fact that I hate investing. And what I hate about it is what the investment industry has turned it into. And so when I say today, I want to talk about the 5 things that you need to look to in every investment. You're like, Eric, but you hate investing. How do these two come together? Look, here's what I understand. And you understand too. At the end of the day, we are talking about what you own. What it is that you take your dollars and you put them into in order to receive a return on those dollars. But I very much am biased in you being completely clear on everything that you own and why you own it. So that when you're looking at an individual company, whether it's the individual company that you run on your own or an individual company that you're going to put dollars into to make a return on long term, there are 5 things that you need to be looking for before you ever commit a dollar to long-term return. So I like to call this just investment excellence. So let's start with item number 1. Item number 1 is innovation. So when you look at this particular company, is this company creating innovative products and services that benefit consumers? Why does this matter? Well, it matters for a lot of different reasons, but more specifically, the world is changing, and the world is changing faster and faster and faster. So as we watch the world change, is the company that you're wanting to put money into, the company that you're wanting to own, are they staying in front of that change? Are they creating innovations either through, again, their products or their services? And are those innovations going to benefit the consumers? Why the consumers? Well, they're the ones spending the money. They're the ones putting the money back into the company that can be used for future investment and future growth. So how are they doing from an innovation standpoint? Item number 2, what's their impact? Is the company making a lasting positive impact on its employees, its customers, and the environment? And we're going to have 2 things that are going to come up. This one and the next one are going to be talking about the way that the company is run from the top and how the thinking is, right? This one's about the positive impact, employees, customers, and the environment. And the reason that this and the next excellence evaluation gets to be so important is there was a big study that was done on companies that were out there. And what they found is that companies that were run with this mindset of taking care of the employees, taking care of the customers, taking care of the environment, and doing business the right way, engaging with people the right way, over the long term, performed a whole lot better than companies who just ignored all of that for the sake of the bottom line. What you have to be careful of, it is not uncommon that you could have a company who temporarily is treating its employees terrible, its customers terrible, the environment terribly. There's a lot of different things that they could be doing on a short-term basis and look really, really profitable. The stock could have some great returns temporarily, but I could name 5 or 6 companies off the top of my head that have not done a good job long term, that for maybe a 2-year period or a 3-year period look like they were doing all the right things and today are a shell of their former selves. So are they taking care of the employees? Are they taking care of the customers? Are they taking care of the environment? And how do you look at that and make sure that you're putting your money into the companies that are doing the right thing? The second piece of this, which is the third evaluation, is around ideals. Does this company align with family values and support long-term human flourishing? One of the words that I've used around this as well is, do they emphasize profit plus people as opposed to profit over people, right? Are they making a profit on things that might go against things you believe in or go against things that are not something you would stand for? And at the end of the day, what we've found is anything that doesn't support long-term human flourishing, it's another example of, given enough time, because it's against the long-term ideals of humanity and against the long-term ideals of how the world was created, the company won't last. You may run into, again, short-term or temporary places where they'll do okay. But if we're looking for what are investments that I can put into my portfolio and focus on owning when they have innovation, when they have impact, and when they have ideals, you give yourself a much better chance long-term than when you ignore these things. How about number 4? Number 4 is inspiration. Is this company driven by a greater legacy purpose that contributes to the long-term flourishing of humanity? Now, this is going to come back. You're going to be like, well, yeah, a company who does that is going to have ideals and impact. Absolutely, it is. What is the focus of the corporation? Is the focus of the corporation the next 3 to 4 quarters of earnings? Or is the focus of the corporation, where are we going to be in 50 years, 100 years, 150 years, or maybe even 10 years? Are they thinking about the structure and the things they need to be putting in place so that the whole company can flourish? Or are they simply focused on how do we make profit over the next couple of days? How do we make profit over the next period, right? And so when you've got that shorter term focus or that shorter term piece that's going on, and you see it repeated in these others, right? Companies do not tend to do well. And then the last piece of what to look for companies that are just thriving from an excellent standpoint is, does the company have a solid foundation of sound business practices and structure? Again, something that can be around for a long-term period of time. And so I've personally developed a way to go in and evaluate each one of these. I will not own a company that does not have innovation, impact, ideals, inspiration, or infrastructure. I want to own companies that align with all 5 of these and then hold on to them for a very long time until a couple of things changes. One, the leadership of the organization changes so that they're not following up with these things. So I'm doing a regular evaluation. Or the marketplace changes to a point that like their innovation or even their impact gets changed by the marketplace. It's especially coming up from an innovation standpoint. I think back to the COVID period, and there were companies that I would not invest in during that period because from a COVID standpoint, I give you an example, the travel industry was one of the big ones. And then even the food, there's a lot of things inside of the food industry that changed for restaurants, that changed the way that I looked at a lot of companies I was holding previously because the innovation to adjust for COVID wasn't there. Now, as things have come back to be more normal, as the COVID has really begun to die down and things that can come back into place, those are companies that can come back into the purview of what's happening, but being able to understand, are they innovating for the current environment and what's going on gets to be super important. I would love to hear your comments or just see from you which one of these 5 resonates with you the most. But what I've found is for families who really are pursuing excellence in the way that they own the companies that they have in their portfolio, who think about investing from a long-term perspective, and people who want to make an impact and build generational prosperity, these 5 make all the difference. And they should definitely be in your consideration as you look at investing. God bless you. Have a fantastic day.